Everyone seems a little tired. I urge you to stand up and take a stretch. Even the band while they're playing. I was just imagining like every human sitting and talking to their dog in the dog language and how crazy the world would be if we knew how to speak to animals. I'm sure all of you had some really interesting visuals, and we as humans are visual. So I wanted to welcome everybody to the decade of the creator economy. When I was younger, I used to go visit the internet by walking to a computer and logging on. That was version 1. Version 2 was that the internet started following us. Looking at everyone sitting on your phone being followed by the internet, we had great inventions like Uber and Airbnb. We are now in version 3 of the internet, which is that brand matters, community matters, but amongst all of that noise, you matter. So every person is required to create a personal brand and express themselves. It's crazy to think that this is not just about Gen Z. Your doctor is on TikTok, and your doctor almost has to be on TikTok. You know why? Because the younger generation especially trusts TikTok over their doctor. So where is our perception of reality really coming from? Is it from what we're seeing online, or is it from reality in real life? The two are blending together in a way that we're not understanding. So as we're scrolling through our social media feeds, our minds are completely changing, and we don't even have that understanding yet from how much visual content we're exposed to that we weren't exposed to in version 2 or version 1 of the internet. My name is Christina Hawatmeh. I'm the founder and CEO of Scopio. And I set on a journey many years ago to give people a place where they could share their voices, where they could be heard, and where their images and stories could be preserved for history. My first boss is over here sitting, which is an incredible reunion for me. I went halfway across the world to Istanbul to learn about how to create an app, a company, and here I am with a platform of people from all over the world that do express themselves, share their content, and have made history in things like The Year Time Stopped, which this book I will give away to the first person that asks me a question today. So there are 8 billion people on the planet. 5 billion have a phone, 3 billion have a smartphone. So I know everybody says we're totally connected. It's not exactly true. Only 3 billion people have that smartphone connectivity and the tools we have at our disposal to really express our creativity and push it. So our challenge is really, how are we going to harness the most creative generation in history? There are 3 billion people that are changing their minds constantly through these new visuals. So I had this funny idea during COVID, and I thought, you know what? The Renaissance and all of the art that people love, that we cherish, and we go and we visit and we spend our life's savings going to see this artwork, actually came about, in theory, some people think, from the Black Plague that wiped out, as you know, so many people and basically a whole generation. And that's what happened to us. We went through the most difficult time ever, which was COVID. And today we're seeing things like NFT and blockchain and creativity, and everyone cares about artists. But we're still only rewarding the 1%. So all of us in this room, we are the 1%. But there are people all over the world that are dying for connection that can't get it. They have no tools, and places like Instagram or Twitter keep promoting this 1%. So you find that despite the unlimited creativity that these people have, there still is not a platform for them to easily monetize, to push through, to get the whole world to see their work. And I've heard on many stages at DLD, where is the middle class? I live in Los Angeles, I'm American, and there's a huge divide happening. However, we do have a duty, especially as entrepreneurs also, to think about how can we create services and how can we really give money to this whole group of people that are really struggling and having to do multiple jobs and but have this immense talent. So this is one person I loved. This lady actually created a cover of a movie poster for Disney. She and others have these emotional messages like, I went to an emotional spiral. She felt hopeless and lost in darkness, although she had this immense talent because she felt like nobody cared. Then she had a spark of inspiration, like many artists do when they get out of it. And she had a dream about her grandpa, and he hosted a massive dinner party and an infinite long white table and invited everyone she knew. So she woke up, created these incredible designs, and then got a book published with this work. This is one of the many people on Scopio that I work every day to help give opportunities to. And I was really touched yesterday when one of the speakers from ABBA mentioned Ukraine. I feel the same way about our artists that we have on our platform from Iran, for example, that they're going through so much difficulties, but their talent is unbelievable. I have a podcast where I interview hundreds and hundreds of these artists, and they'll do things like impromptu rap. So that's Parsa is a rapper, he's an artist, and it's not, we don't get the same level of expression. So the collaboration that somebody with a talent like rapping and a video editor or a graphics can really put together, like we saw yesterday again, the collaboration that is possible in this new era. I'm announcing today the launch of our app, which I'll give you a preview of now. Different prices for them, have control over their content. And in less than 3 minutes, we use AI to title, tag, curate that content so that we can make it equal for anybody around the world to share their content. This was a mission of mine, is to have imagery being uploaded in less than 3 minutes in a very high barrier system, which is image sharing and distribution. As we know, licensing is an extremely complicated thing, and the next generation doesn't really want to deal with it. These are all the different skill sets that are on Scopio and the visual art space, which is exploding today. On a sadder note, leaders are responsible for reinforcing positive connections. When I think about platforms like Twitter and Instagram, I think, what is happening? Every time you get off, you feel worse about yourself than you did when you went in. And so I said, is that just the nature of social media, this negativity? And then when I started to build a company in tech, I realized how important it is the person who's creating the software or the product and how their mindset is. Because it doesn't have to be that way. We can build products that are positive, that are reinforcing for people, that give people a pat on the back for the great work they're doing instead of tearing each other down. And I believe it's the responsibility of leaders that have the biggest platforms in the world to understand their role in this negativity and the depression amongst the younger generation and difficult time that so many people are having. Not only do they have a responsibility for our emotions, but there's a responsibility for our history. We are putting our history on these platforms, and if they go away, then our history is gone. Think of all of the Queen Elizabeth to the World Cup, to all the social movements around the world. You know, people die for posting their photos online in some parts of the world, and This could all be crowdsourced into a public access system where the whole world could use it instead of just being part of an ad machine on different social networks. So people are very excited about crypto and blockchain because they can not only make money in new ways, but they can have a piece of the actual ownership. So instead of me paying you in cash, I can pay you in crypto, or I can say, here, you can have 3% of the conference revenues if you create all the art for the conference, for example. So artists are ahead of businesses in thinking like this, but I challenge you to think, how can you give a little bit of this ownership so that these wonderful people can earn more money? These are all the countries that are on Scopio's platform, so I get the pleasure of talking with people all over the world. And this is the book that I had mentioned that has just won an award called the Mind Award. It will be the official book of the most famous music celebration next month, which you will have an announcement of soon. And I wanted to give you a sneak peek of this piece of history, which is 200 images and stories from 2020, and the only crowdsourced history book we have so far, which is why you'll see it in your grandkids' schools one day. And each person has their own perspective of what happened that year, and every image tells a story from a different part of the world. These are just 200 images out of millions that I have on my site. The theme of the book is the first part is alone and all the isolation we felt, and together, how the world joined together to tackle climate change, social injustice, and many issues by going to the streets, by connecting online. And the cover artist of the book is a Turkish photographer that had to get special permission from the government to photograph public spaces and slept 1 month in the hospital, leaving her young child at home so she could capture history. Oh. Thank you. Okay, first person to ask me a question gets this book signed by me, Sharpie in hand. There you go. The biggest downside? So we built AI to process and tag and title all the content. We have thousands and thousands of images that get submitted a day, some of which are very important. And I think AI is still pretty early. So learning how to train systems to recognize gender, ethnicity, location, language is still in its early days. But if you want to create a platform for the world, then you have to have systems that really can understand the whole world. Thank you, everyone.